It's Thursday, the 23rd of June, and you're listening to the GameGrin GrinCast. I'm your host, Hamiltonius, and I'm joined by Ace.
Hello.
Dominoid.
Hello.
Fowler.
Hello.
And Vodka.
Hi.
This week is, rather jokingly, the Brexit special, so as Britain goes to the polls, we're going to ignore everything to do with Brexit completely, to be honest, and focus on something a lot more fun, the Steam sale, or is it actually fun?
There's also your guest, Nigel Farage.
Yeah.
Oh, dear.
What would Nigel Farage's favourite game be?
Well, something with a British name that takes place in Britain.
God knows.
Well, you should have asked.
I'll tell you what it wouldn't
It'd probably
be.
be Hearts of Iron, because that's back in the good old days.
Yeah, I was gonna say Civ or something like that.
I'm assuming he wouldn't like our 10 out of 10 recent winner, ice fishing, because he never seems to turn up to any fucking votes about ice fishing or fishing of any kind.
Well, hey, satire.
Ooh.
Little bit of politics, eh?
But yeah, the Steam sale has broken across all of poor Valve servers and ruined them all, as millions of people try and click on what are not exceptional deals.
No, they're actually not that good. But it should be fun in a couple of hours, I reckon.
I think the problem for me with the Steam sales now is, A, we've had so many of them that most of us have got absolutely loads, and we're kind of not as excited about obtaining so many Steam games. But also I think that the part of the excitement before was those time-limited deals where you didn't have enough time to think about whether or not it was a brilliant deal, and it would be suddenly they'd reduce it by 75% off. And they've stopped doing that now, so it's just one discounted price. So you can see everything the Steam sale has to offer in one sitting, and then you don't need to see the rest of it for the rest of the sale.
Yeah, I agree. It's got a good part and a bad part. Like, the good thing is that you're not going to miss out on anything. Like, right now, if there's a 75% discount, you don't have 4 hours to buy it. You can buy it whenever. It's not all bad.
No, you have until 4th of July to buy it, so you can log on, if you can log on today, and find what you want, and then, right, okay, I've got until the 4th to buy it, and then you probably won't buy it.
I think the flash sales and daily deals added a certain amount of urgency to people's purchases, which meant that a lot more stock was shifted. However, with the new refund system, I think Steam have decided it better remove both of those and have loads of people doing snap purchases and then immediately wanting refunds on games they don't like.
Didn't even think about that, actually. Yeah,
Doing that. It's a very good point.
So people who demanded refunds, who've shot yourself in the foot, now you can't get a game you'll never play for £3.
No.
I think also as well, Steam don't need to do that like they used to. Like when they were smaller and they were trying to get people to use Steam as their go-to place, then it was more necessary. Whereas now, Steam is our go-to place. I was one of the people who, when Steam first launched, was very vehemently saying, no, I'm not going to download digital games. I want a box and I want the new manual smell. And I've got like 300 games in my Steam library now.
Yeah, well, for me, it's like you said, a lot of the sales that come up, I've already got them, but then there are like 1 or 2 games I'm just hoping turn up and don't have like tiny discounts on them. And it's still, even now, like earlier we were saying, I said that Doom's currently on a discount for like 20% or something, which means it's £28 or something like that, and I seriously considered buying it, and then you said that's still close to retail, so the Steam sale effect still happens.
I think the issue, it depends how temperate you are. Like, I'm quite moderate with the games that I buy. So, like, I know that my backlog is actually not that big. Like, there's still, 20 games, 25 games. But, like, in my mind, I know that, like, many of those games I'll never play because I just don't want to and I have them there. And many of them are, like, 4 hours long or 5 hours long. So I'm very aware that my backlog is actually not that much. But I know, like, I don't know. I'm very sure that you've got that. Some of you may have like 50 games in the backlog that they've never tried, they've never finished. Because that's the thing. Like, now nobody really finishes their game, so like they tend to like dip in the game for a few hours and then move on to the next one. And I mean, I can see how that Steam sale getting a game for like £6. I don't know. You can make an argument that 4 hours of a game that is supposed to be, I don't know, 20 is worth £6. But realistically, I mean, you could get so much more for that and spend less. I don't know. This is just me thinking out loud.
I've actually just realized I'm looking. I might actually be buying some things, but it's mostly our stat picks from the best games of last year, and they're actually not bad. Like Her Story's 50%, and it was already cheap. So was Chroma Squad 50%, Undertale 30%.
There's some good. I mean, there's definitely stuff worth picking up. The Doom one is quite interesting because you're saying like that's currently 40% off. It's $23.99. I had a look on Amazon. It's $24.99 for a physical copy of it on Amazon at the moment, just their normal price.
I mean,
So-
not to mention G2A and GameGrin and pages like that. You can get it for much less.
I wouldn't say that though. I was actually just looking at the Forest today, and it's on G2A. It's $20 here, but on Steam it's $13.
I mean, obviously, it depends on the game. Yeah, of course. Like G2A, for example, G2A it's always been cheaper on GTA. It's always been cheaper on G2A, and now it's actually cheaper now on Steam. But for example, Shadow Mordor, that was on my wish list for quite a while. It's actually like £4 cheaper on G2A. Or what's the other one that I was looking at? Oh, Assassin's Creed Unity. That's one that I never played and I really wanted to play. It's still like £5 cheaper on G2A, even with a 50% or 60% discount. It's like, well, I think that was the point of the whole like flash sales, that you could actually get it cheaper than anywhere else, and contributing and all that. We know that. We'll talk about it later.
There's that kind of that. The question might be, why are all these games so much cheaper on G2A? I don't know if anybody's asked that question recently. Maybe
We'll get to it in a second. We'll stick with Steam for the
Yeah,
moment.
I actually have that. Well,
I mean, we'll talk about it eventually. Let's stick to Steam because I think we're not done here.
No, there's still quite a lot to say about it, really. I mean, he says, and then completely forgets his point he was going to say. But
I think that particularly this year, I was looking forward to getting lots of games that have come out this year, and realistically, the discount is not that much. It's from 10% to 30%. And yes, £8 is still cheap for a game, but it's a game that is £12 retail, and it's an indie one that lasts 5 hours. So realistically, it's not such a good deal. And I'm very sure that if we had those lightning, I don't know. I'm never understood why they got rid of the lightning deals.
yeah, it might just be a part of because of the refund issue. But then it doesn't seem like they really had a great sample size. I mean, if they'd have said, right, we're getting rid of flash sales and daily deals because you fuckers are refunding all the time, then that would make sense. But they just sort of phased them out quietly, didn't they?
Have you ever refunded a game?
No.
I've refunded one once.
Name
it
and
was,
shame.
What was it called? It Plug In or something. It's this weird game with people with plugs for heads.
Oh yeah, plug and play.
That was it, Plug and Play, and it
Yeah.
was like it wasn't an awful game, but I completed the entire game in less than 10 minutes, and just sort of sat there thinking, what the hell did I just spend £5 on?
You see, I think that's kind of criticizable in a way, and it's not personal, but it's not towards someone in particular. But I think that kind of, because many people did that. Many people bought a game for like £3, £4, £5, and played for less than 2 hours, and then refunded it because they were done with it. And that may be a reason why they have to cut corners, and now they're getting the money through getting rid of these deals. But also by getting rid of these deals, you're encouraging people to go to other sites such as G2A and ones we were talking about. So I'm not sure if that was a wise decision. And realistically, since every refund is looked at individually, I'm not entirely sure. Like, because if you start refunding a lot of games, they start looking at your profile in case you're abusing or you're abusing the system, which is something that they came out when they released the whole refund, whatever. And I think there's something very fair. Like, if it's I've never refunded a game, but I'd be really annoyed if at some point they take it out and I can't refund the game because a bunch of assholes have been taking advantage. So it makes sense that they just ban people from refunds. Like, if you start abusing the system, there you go, banned. You can't refund any more games, which makes sense. So,
is it? I mean, do we know it's definitely the refunds that they? Honestly, I do think it's just because they don't need to do it anymore. That there's no reason to have those loss leaders to get them more customers in.
Yeah, well,
I still think that I'm just looking at what I'm gonna buy in the Steam sales, and realistically, everything that I wanted to buy apart from one thing, I'm gonna find it elsewhere cheaper. So I'm not this and then what I'm gonna buy is GTA 5 because it's what I've been looking for a while, and I wanted to have it on Steam. Realistically, any other game is like I really can't. I'm not going to spend the same thing I'm paying for the AAA for an indie game that has a 10% discount on Steam.
There's a discount on the Steam controller and the Steam Link at the moment, which was quite tempting for me to break my self-imposed Steam ban.
I have the Steam Link, and our Steam controller review went up a short while ago. I'd recommend the Steam Link. It's a pretty nifty bit of kit. Due to the power of my PC, it's not perfect, but it's certainly enjoyable.
Does it work? So it works alright, yeah?
Yeah, but you do need a more powerful PC than the one I have. Mine's 8 years old, so it is aging. But yeah, I can still play. I played The Novelist. Played through that. Marvel Heroes. I played a few hours with, and it lags a bit, but it's the controls are spot on.
You play with a controller?
I've played Elite Dangerous. That wasn't through my PC though. That was through a laptop. I used a controller for that, and that was fine.
And so are you playing Marvel Heroes through Steam Link with the mouse and keyboard?
That's right.
Oh, that's interesting. So you get your mouse and keyboard on your lap?
Yeah.
That's, you see, because that's one of the reasons why I was reluctant to get the Steam Link, because I'm not all games, but I play a lot with mouse and keyboard, and I'm just sitting on the sofa or on an armchair with the mouse and keyboard. It seems a bit uncomfortable for me.
Well, if you got a tray, or
yeah,
I'm on the bed, so I've got the mouse is beside me and the keyboard's on my lap.
Yeah, fair enough.
They're both wireless.
I've done that in the past actually, so I don't know why I'm complaining about it.
All right, but back to the Steam sale. The only one that's jumped out at me and I've immediately added to cart. I haven't been able to buy it yet because of Steam problems. Was Brutal Legend. That's a 175.
Is that the game that's modeled after Jack Black? Or
that's right.
Yeah.
Well, he produced it, yeah.
It's pretty good. I remember buying it on Steam sale about 2 years ago, actually.
Really? I hated it so much.
I played it on Xbox 360, and I want to play through it again. So 174, sure.
Plus, it's even more poignant now Lemmy's dead.
Oh, way to bring the tone down.
Sorry. But he
One
is,
thing,
and it's very sad.
One thing I've noticed about the Steam sale this year is, at the moment, obviously it's the first day, there's a distinct lack of meta game. Last year's summer sale had the what was essentially a clicker game, didn't it? For getting trading cards and rewards and things like that. This year's is just clicking through your discovery queue over and over and over to get trading cards.
Yeah.
So whether
In the-
that'll
in the-
evolve into something else or
In the winter sale, it was also only the go through your discovery queue 3 times and get a trading card for each time. I did like the clicker game last summer. I
yeah.
was hoping when I read that it leaked somewhere that it was going to be a picnic sale, and I thought, oh, a clicker game. You have to stop the ants from getting your picnic or something.
Yeah,
There was
it seems a
There
bit
was a
lazy.
comic as well, wasn't there, in the Christmas sale with that little
Yes, there was.
gingerbread detective, and that was really cool. And they had all these little sort of hidden references. And like you say, now it's just click next in queue 10 times.
Maybe something
it
will
loads.
emerge. We don't know.
Yeah, I feel that now. I don't know. I don't understand it. If it's gonna be like that for the next what 10 days, it's gonna be quite boring. Right now I'm just like, yeah, I've seen everything I've got to see. Like, the only thing I can do is save. And as I said, the deals are not good. I'm still coming back to it. I can get cheaper games on Steam through any other website, and I want to believe that I'm part of the majority of people that tries to get all games on Steam, and that would have gotten so many more games if they hadn't, because this sale is not good at all. So if they hadn't got rid of the flash deals, I would have gotten quite a few games. So yeah, there you go. That's my money for Steam that they're not getting.
I don't know if I would agree that the sales aren't that good. It's going to be impossible for Steam to always beat out G2A with their sales, for the simple fact that Steam are actually like, this is going to go to the whole frickin' tinyBuild thing in the end, but
That's fine. We'll move it on.
Yeah,
like so for them to beat that, they're literally gonna have to sell their games for in some cases or get their games for 30 cents for them to make a decent profit. Like, it's right, you say they're not good, but like Brutal Legend, I just looked up the original price is $19. You can get it for $169, so that's a 90% deal. And I've actually just gone over the reviews, because when I first saw that game when it came out, I thought it looked horrible, to be honest. But it's got a lot of positive reviews.
No, yeah, lots of people love it. Lots of people love it. Yeah.
They do have some good games. It's just, I think, going back on what we had said before, it's just we've had so many sales already that the reason it doesn't look good to us, at least, is that we have most of the good games that are on sale.
You see, I don't think my library is that big, actually, and I have a list with my wish list. If you go through my wish list, you see that there's not really that, there are 75% discounts, but the 75% discounts are actually they don't go down to £5, £6. They're actually they still are over 10 pounds. You know what I mean? Because they're just released. They're still full price. Shadow Mortar was example, I think.
The problem is Steam get these, from what I understand, Steam get these directly from the developers, the companies, whereas companies like G2A, you have these people that actually do make a decent living out of this. They go to Humble Bundle and all that. They mass buy these packages. They find ways around all these things saying you can only buy 2 copies or whatever, and then they end up selling them to G2A at, let's say, a 60%, because Humble Bundle and all them and get these keys for 30 cents each, 30 to 50 cents or whatever, and then they put it in the bundle. Then these people end up buying these bundles and splitting them. They sell them to places like G2A at a reduced price while still making a profit. So Steam it's not going to be possible for them to compete with that.
I think I'm just going to move it to the tinyBuild because I'm very confused. I'm just talking about the games that I was looking at. So Shadow Mordor, for example, it's $7.50 on Steam, with a 75% discount, and it's £4 on G2A. How, like, the sell on Steam is the cheapest that I've ever seen on Steam and any other retail website. How does G2A get it cheaper? Because Shadow Mordor hasn't been in any bundle or for any cheaper. So I'm very
no,
confused.
it was in a flash sale at one point when they still have flash sales on Steam. Because that's when I bought it for about $4 or $5.
So you reckon that when it was like 90% discount,
People end up buying. People buy it, extra copies, and then put it on G2A to make a profit. So they might have gotten it still cheaper than that. Or there's also the case, like the rare occasion where someone gets a hold of someone else's credit card and buys a bunch of copies of the game to resell them. That does happen, but so going on to like what tinyBuild is accusing G2A of, I don't agree with, because they're saying $400,000.
Yeah,
let's
let's give a general roundup of this.
Do you want to do introduction, Alex?
I'll do the bits and pieces and the general stuff. So basically, tinyBuild, which are a set of developers, have put a post on their website and also up on Reddit as well, accusing G2A of basically causing them to lose almost $500,000 worth of money, because a number of the keys that G2A were using to sell their game Punch Club, I believe, weren't legitimate, as in they've been stolen, or someone had hacked a credit card, used the credit card to buy multiple games, and then used those keys to get a profit. And the problem is that G2A is a lot like eBay in the sense that they can't police what's put up on there. Basically, they don't sell things directly. They go through third parties. So in some cases, it might be legitimate things of people buying a bundle and having a spare key and selling it for a little bit of money. But in other cases, it might also be a load of illegitimate keys. So basically, the developer basically said that G2A knows that it's doing this and doesn't care. G2A's come back out and said, we try hard to stop this kind of thing from happening, but things slip through. And now a number of other developers have started coming out to have a go at G2A and other key sellers to say that it's a bad thing for the industry. So yeah, that's the long and the short of it, basically.
You say that they can't police it, but they came out and said, we took down 200 versions of this key that were being sold illegally. But how did they do that if they can't police it?
Well, they'll get, like, they'll find out from the company. Like, it's really weird. So G2A have now said, okay, well, we've banned these copies. What key, like, they've specifically asked tinyBuild saying, what other keys do you think are illegitimate? And tinyBuild do not want to give them the information for some reason.
Well, no, from their latest update, what they said is they can't, just purely because of the amount of resource that it would take. I mean, if we're talking 10,000 keys, the amount of resources it's going to take to go through 10,000 keys and work out which ones are and aren't legitimate, especially in a 3-day timescale that they've been given, it's just not possible for a company that size. We're talking a company that's got like 12 employees and they've got a day job to do. If you're Ubisoft, for example, and they had the issue with them last year, they have enough staff to be able to dedicate a team of 30 people to doing this for a few days. But tinyBuild feasibly, I don't know if there's any way they can do that. So I think asking them to identify these is a bit unfair.
Like, realistically, though, if you have $400,000 on the line for it, I'd be staying up for 3 days in a row. I don't give a fuck. That's still $400,000 of my money. But the other thing is, they've kind of, in a sense, like, I'm not trying to be against the little guy, because I do like tinyBuild, but realistically, you have $400,000 on the line, which is an overestimate in a sense, because all these keys that they're saying are either illegitimate or have been stolen or whatever. That's not necessarily the truth. That's also assuming that out of a bunch of those keys that you've given out to all these bundle companies, that they're assumed at full price as well, whereas they've been sold at G2A or whatever. it could have been a legitimate sale, and they're just saying, well, we're missing out. You sold this game for $4 when it should have been $15 that we make off of it.
I think if it was just tinyBuild that was standing up and saying this, then I'd be kind of thinking, okay, take it with a pinch of salt. But the thing that worries me is that tinyBuild have started the dialogue, and a lot of companies are now coming out and saying, yeah, this is an issue. So when I was doing research for that article on GameGrin, I spoke with a developer who didn't want to be named, and they're saying, yep, that they estimate they've lost about 30 grand. And this was a particularly small developer, so that's a lot of money. And then we've got like the CEO of Trion Worlds has come out against it. Even Nerdcubed has come out and said, yep, you shouldn't be buying from G2A. This is bad practice, and I've been saying this for a while. So it's sort of, there's a lot of people saying it, and are a lot of people mistaken, or is it actually that G2A just don't give a shit that stolen goods are being sold through their site because they're making a cut from it?
I think that claiming that they're just not giving a shit, that they're deliberately ignoring the fact that these things are happening. I think that that's such a wild accusation that can't literally be proven. Like, G2A has come out saying that, and this is my opinion. I understand that obviously, if a guy buys 500 keys in a bundle and for a total of 30p key and sells them G2A for £4 a key, obviously I wouldn't agree with that. But on the other hand, G2A has come out and is trying to repair the damage and has taken down many providers and many keys, and is refunding. So blaming G2A when actually G2A has done stuff. You said that G2A can't police, but I think that they can up to a certain point. I think that what Alex said is like it may slip through at some point, and because tinyBuild is the developers that have had a lot of sales, have had a lot of humble bundles. I think that my point is that small developers, it's more likely to happen with small developers than with big ones. I haven't seen, Rockstar complaining about it, and lots of people get it from G2A. They're GTA. So I think that the more you put your keys in bundles, and the more you put your keys in websites that are not Steam for very cheap. I think the more you put yourself in danger, it's of people ripping you off.
If you don't want it to happen, stop selling your keys to. Like, I know Humble Bundle is good, but if you don't want it to happen to you, then stop selling so many of your keys to these bundle services.
Can I just want to do something here, just kind of a quick live experiment to kind of show what made me realise actually I'm not entirely certain that G2A are sort of in line with good business practice. Has anyone tried to cancel G2A Shield?
Yeah. We've done
so
it
here's...
What do you mean cancel?
Really? Okay, so I'm going to try and cancel it now. So I've currently got it live signed up, okay? So I'm going into my account.
What do you mean
cancel? Settings.
What do you mean by cancel? You mean
so G2A Shield is a recurring payment now. It's not a one-off thing.
Oh, really?
You have to cancel it. So you sign up for it, and it's then charging me £1 a month, I think, and I haven't bothered cancelling it. Okay, this is how long it takes. I'm doing this live, okay? My account, and I've gone into settings. Manage your G2A Shield. For security reasons, please log in again. Logged in again. It now gives me a long list of important information about what G2A Shield is. I have to scroll down to the bottom of the page, still scrolling, down at the bottom. G2A Shield is cool, and a big green button, and then underneath it, a text link, deactivation process. Confirm the following benefit deactivation. I must tick a box for each benefit. 5-minute money back guarantee, 100% purchase protection, entire G2A Pay ecosystem coverage, satisfaction, blah, 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 ultimate fast track, customer service, reachable. Got to tick all of those boxes. Large green button, leave active, small text link, cancel G2A Shield. Why do you want to resign from G2A Shield? I'll pick an option, other, and I'll say I don't want to pay €1 for it. Big green button, leave active, text link, disable. Your half-price subscription offer will be disabled. Big green button that says leave it active, small text link that says I want to lose the discounted subscription, unsubscribe. Click that. Transaction fee 33% less. Big green button, leave it active, small text link, I don't want the discounted fee, unsubscribe. Unique solution in just 5 minutes. Another big green button saying leave it active, then I don't want 100% purchase protection, unsubscribe. I thought we were friends. Big green button, leave G2A Shield active, text link, disable subscription now. Enter the last 4 details of your credit card. I don't have a linked credit card. Please confirm your email address. 1 second, I have to take off push to talk. Right, so I've put that in, clicked on it. Wait at least 20 minutes to see if the email arrives or check the spam folder. There is now only one link on the screen, which is a green button saying leave G2A Shield active. If I click that, when the email arrives, it will say you've already asked to leave it active, so we won't cancel it now. That email, and I've tried this 3 times now and I keep bloody missing it, it will take exactly 20 minutes. Every single time it takes exactly 20 minutes. If you don't click on the link in that email within 10 minutes of it arriving, the token expires and you have to start the whole process all over again. That's their level of business practice. That's how long it took to get them to send me an email to cancel a service.
I'm surprised by this because I bought stuff, 2 months ago of G2A, and they... Not even, actually, probably less. And I used G2A Shield, and it was just like a one-off payment.
Yeah, see, when you asked if it was easy to cancel out, I thought you meant just like the...
You tick off,
the
yeah?
unticket, yeah.
Yeah.
I bought something last month, and I'm looking at my PayPal now, and I don't have any recurring payment.
No.
Yeah, I have no idea what's going on with your G2A Shield, honestly.
But that's, I like...
Dom is actually the 3rd person I've heard today going on about cancelling G2A Shield. So it must be. When did this start, Dom?
Oh, he's away.
He doesn't know.
Well,
I think
for,
it
for,
only started a month or 2 ago.
well, for example, I bought the
That's
last game I
weird.
bought from G2A was on May 15th, and I bought it with G2A Shield, and I didn't sign up to anything.
I think I bought it even later than that, actually. I bought it 3 weeks ago? Yeah, 2 weeks ago, something like that.
I've never bought anything from G2A because it just seemed quite seedy. I went on to buy something. It was 79p for a random Steam key. I thought, okay, click. Add G2A Shield. It adds 30p, and add this and add that, and it's like, well, now this 79p Steam key is like £4.
Yeah.
Cancel.
I was actually annoyed by that at the beginning, but now, it's really not that much, because, honestly, it's just taxes and Shield.
Their
And
tax system's so flimsy, though, because you literally can just say, I don't want to claim VAT.
well, not anymore. Used to, but they've changed that. They changed that recently, and now
Wait, what's VAT?
Taxes.
Value added
tax, yeah.
tax.
But yeah, now they changed it. Now you have to put a country. I don't remember how they fixed it, but I try to, get around, because I usually pay the tax, but I try.
VOD's gone. So obviously he's been found out for trying it once. And MI5 just broken down his door and cut off his internet.
The interesting thing here with the Shield is it seems to be that it's a monthly recurring service on some purchases and a one-off on others. And it doesn't seem to be any sort of rhyme or reason as to when it does one or the other. Because I found a thread on Reddit from over a year ago with somebody having a similar problem of trying to cancel it. It used to be, apparently, that you could only cancel it in the 2 days before payment was due. So, yeah, they're obviously it's a similar process, I suppose, to what Amazon Prime do, isn't it? Where they say, "Oh, have it free for 30 days and then you pay for it." But the difference is Amazon Prime doesn't require a full half-hour deactivation process.
No, I'll give you that because I did have to. I forgot to cancel mine after, and I got charged. Took like 5 minutes, and that was it. I just called in and said I'd like to cancel it, and I forgot to actually end my free trial and whatever, and they actually refunded my money.
Yeah, it's kind of, I mean, it doesn't prove or disprove anything with the argument between tinyBuild and G2A, but it gives you an example of what kind of business practices G2A are prepared to use.
It's an issue of culpability as well.
Yeah.
Is it our fault, G2A's fault, the developer's fault? I mean, the developer could do something like Ubisoft did and shut down all keys that they believe to have been criminally stolen, and then they'll just get a load of flack from the gamers, like Ubisoft did.
I can see this eventually going to, in light of the fact that it's our Brexit special, I can see it going to the European courts. Because I don't know if anybody remembers, possibly I'm the only person that does because I'm the only economics student, but there was a thing a few years back where eBay were found culpable by the European courts as to how they act with counterfeit goods. And they were told that although you're not selling anything, you're just providing the marketplace, you have to be more careful with Regulate. And you have to work with companies that are reporting this issue. So they've had to put a very stringent thing in place where any sign of fraudulent goods, they have to investigate it, not the company that's being defrauded.
So in this case, it'd be G2A has to look into it, not tinyBuild.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't take a genius to go, well, okay, somebody is trying to sell 450 sequentially numbered keys. That might be a bit suspicious. And it's exactly the same as having sequentially numbered banknotes. If you go into any shop and try and pay with a roll of £10 notes that are all one number after the other, then any reputable retailer should notice that and go, actually, something's not quite right here, and query this. And G2A are kind of doing the whole, well, it's not our fault. We don't let people sell things fraudulently, but they might do that. And that argument didn't work for Pirate Bay, so I don't think it'll work for G2A.
It didn't work for Mega Upload either.
It didn't. They're using the Kim.com theory of defence, and ultimately it is a very standard legal precedent that ignorance is not a defence.
Well, I didn't know all of these games I'm downloading illegally were illegal. I mean...
Yeah.
See, the other problem, though...
To say that, you could say, well, I didn't know it was illegal to kick that puppy in the face, officer, so I should be allowed to do it.
I'll let you off.
Are you going to say something, Fowler?
Just that, I'd also put the blame partially on sites like Humble Bundle and stuff then as well. Because realistically, they should be doing more to stop people from multi-buying these bundles.
Yep.
Yeah, they absolutely.
Especially if it's for charity. That's no different. I don't know if you guys knew about we had a Tragically Hip concert here. And it was supposed to be a beneficial or a benefits concert for cancer, and the ticket reseller actually allowed scalpers to buy as many tickets as they wanted, pretty much. So I think it was some ridiculous percentage, but something like 25% of the tickets were sold to scalpers.
That sucks.
So you see it as no different though, right? Like, this is Humble's supposed to be for a good cause, but they do need to make the conscious effort to stop. It's gonna start impacting the gaming industry so badly that people aren't gonna want to post stuff to Humble or give keys to Humble.
Yeah, I think, to be fair to Humble, I think they're possibly not the best example, because it's been said by a number of places that they're actually one of the companies that are very good at limiting the amount of purchases that you make. So it'll check, is this the same account, and is this the same credit card and the same IP address? So you can't buy the same bundle 70, 80 times. But from what I've read, the issue is quite often with some of the smaller bundle sites, and I don't think it's that they're sort of that they're kind of expecting that to happen. I think they're just genuinely being naive and expecting that wouldn't happen. And potentially, could that be the same thing that G2A are doing? That they're assuming that this is just loads of people with spare keys. Because the idea is supposed to be you get a spare key in a bundle for a game that you've already got, you can flog it on G2A. But, like I said, the bundle sites really should be noticing, actually, somebody has bought 500 copies of this bundle, and G2A should be looking and going, well, how has this person got 500 spare keys for Rocket League? That's not right.
How do we know, though, that they aren't already catching that? Because they're not going to make that information public either. For all we know, there could be people every day trying to submit 500 keys, and they might be saying, well, no, that's too many.
You can see what people are selling, though. It's like on eBay. You can see other things from this same seller. So you can see one seller has got 500 copies of the same key.
I'm just going to start browsing through people's accounts.
What if you put like 5 up, and then when they go, you put another 5 up, and so on? You know, my point is that I can see how G2A regulating that it's harder than for Humble Bundle. And as you said, it's probably not Humble Bundle. It's probably all the smaller websites, but still it stands. I think it's quite contentious for G2A to manage that.
The problem is not just G2A here. I think there's a fundamental abuse of a system that should be really there to benefit everyone.
I don't think
benefits. There's always abusers.
I don't think Steam helped things by cancelling off their what was it, where you could sign in using Steam, and Humble used to use that so you could add the keys directly to your account.
Yeah,
it was a lot harder to get the separate keys.
Why?
Yeah, because then they were. I think because they were looking at the amount of sales that they're losing out on it, because they're not getting that much of a cut, if anything, from those keys being sold. They'd rather people went directly to them. But I think you're right, actually. That would make such a huge difference, because back then, in order to get the game into your Steam library, you had to claim it. And it wasn't giftable. You couldn't send these keys to somebody else. Whereas now, once Steam dropped out, they just started giving you the keys in text form, which means that you can just send those keys to anyone. And that's, I've quite often got a spare key in a bundle, and I'll be honest, I've never actually thought about selling them. I've generally just gone onto the GameGrin Discord hub and gone, hey, who wants a free key for this? I don't need it. And found somebody, an actual person, not a scalper, that wants the key.
Yeah, that's another thing. There's no need, as you said, there's no need to sell a key a spare key that you have. So I don't. It begs the question of whether these sites are necessary.
It's a nice idea, I think, for someone who buys a lot of bundles, but quite frankly, it kind of. I think it would be naive for them to assume that this wasn't going to result in loads of stolen keys being sold.
Yeah, for exploitation. Yeah, of course.
I think the other thing to be worth pointing out is that there's the issue with chargebacks. That the suggestion has been made that what some people may be doing is buying hundreds of Steam keys of the same game at regular price using a stolen credit card from a list that's available on various different forums. Now, those credit cards will be cancelled within 24 hours and the charges will be refunded, so that will be clawed back from the developer. But the key has been generated, so it's too late. Once the key's out there, it can be used by somebody, but the developer sees absolutely no money out of this. But G2A make money, so it's not in their interests to stop people doing it.
Well, that discussion's actually gone on a lot longer than I thought it would. But it actually eclipsed what was going to be our main topic, if I'm honest, so we'll move that one on to next week. Perhaps since this one became quite a well discussed debate. Well done, everyone there. But we're gonna have to move on to the second proper news story that we've got this week in the last 10 minutes of the podcast, which is I think actually Dominoid knows more about this than I do, but a fiction game called, is it Hadean or Hadean Lands, is going to release a type of DLC that you don't come across very often. So I'll let Dominoid introduce this one.
See, I don't know how it's pronounced either because it's a text adventure, so I've only ever seen the name written. But I think it's Hadean Lands. I think as in Lands of Hades was my guess.
Oh yeah, of course. Yeah.
But yeah, it's an old-style text adventure game. And you remember with sort of the old games, especially the Infocom days, you used to get feelies. Like Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy came with those cardboard sunglasses that blocked out everything so that you wouldn't panic. Stuff like that. I kind of get the impression it's supposed to be something like that. So the game itself costs like £9, I think it is. For 27 quid, you can get a PDF of a certificate that says, I will not cheat or look up how to play this game. I'll complete it the old-fashioned way. And the developer's basically saying, yep, you do this, print it out, put it in a frame, hang it on the wall, and you'll be more committed to playing it the old-fashioned way like we did in the 80s. And that's it. Does nothing to the game. There's no content added. It's just a certificate. And you don't even get a physical certificate. You only get a PDF and a JPEG.
In all fairness, in the 80s and the 90s, we had guides, the books, and we all use them. Well, not that I was alive, but...
Well, yeah, but this isn't a guide. It's just a certificate saying that you're not going to use a guide.
No, that's what I'm saying. Like, it's not really the old school way, because...
Oh, I see what you mean. Right?
Everybody's ever... Like,
everyone used to buy those Prima
I think
guides.
that...
Not for text
like,
adventures.
Dreamy idea. I think, yeah, maybe. But I think that like, dreamy idea that in the 90s and in the 80s, gaming was more pure and everybody, I don't know, worked more to be game. It's not necessarily true, because I remember when I was little, and I'm talking about 1998, that everybody shares similar games, and we told each other how to beat games, and we had guides and whatnot. So unless you lived in a mountain with absolute no access to, I don't know, print, I doubt that you didn't look at stuff. I don't know. What the older podcasters? What do you think?
So you're looking at the late 90s. I'm kind of thinking late 80s, even early 90s. You didn't have the internet. You couldn't look it up. So you had two options. You had to either really hope that you got picked to be on Games Master, or you had to write a letter to Amstrad Action, wait for next month to be published, and hope that the Bullrog could tell you how to get past that one puzzle that you're stuck on in Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. And it's much more instant now. If you get stuck in a puzzle, you just Google it.
But still, bit of paper. Not even a bit of paper. A bit of digital paper. £27.
It's like
you could type it out on Word.
But he even puts a sample version up there. It's the same thing. It's just got a watermark over it.
Isn't there like literally a tool on Photoshop that gets rid of watermarks?
I think so. Yeah. I mean, to be honest, the way that I'm looking at it, I don't think really anyone is paying 27 quid to get that certificate. I think what that is. For me, that's a very clever publicity stunt, because had any of us heard of Hadean Nights before he put that DLC out?
No.
That's it. It's made the game noticeable by doing something unique. Even if he doesn't sell a single one of those, and I imagine as a developer, he probably doesn't expect to sell a single one of those, but people now know his game's out there. And as somebody who quite likes text adventures, I'm now thinking about buying it because I know it exists and I didn't know it existed before.
Well, I suppose that's a fair point, but maybe that there's a little ulterior motive there, or maybe they actually think people will pay £27 for a certificate.
It could even just be a case of it's the equivalent of like a Patreon or a Buy Me a Pint button. A case of, if you think my game is worth more money than you've paid for it, then I'd love your support. Click here and buy this digital certificate.
Maybe. I mean, it's not exactly nefarious. We're not like pointing it out as what a money grabbing bastard. It's just very interesting and very unique, really, isn't it?
It's absolutely bizarre
I mean-
because he doesn't even hide it, does he? He doesn't say like, "Oh, you get this great stuff." There's an FAQ where it says, "What do you get? Just the certificate. I might even throw in a JPEG if you're lucky. Do we get anything else? Nope, bugger all."
Yeah, like it's not really encouraging people to buy. As Tom said, sorry, I was going to take the credit, Tom. There, as Tom said, I think it's a publicity stunt and not a great one, if I'm honest, because I don't know, I just don't see the point.
Well, it worked on me. I wrote about it, and I'm probably going to buy the game. So I fell hook, line, and sinker.
Yeah.
What do you think, Ace?
I won't be buying it, no.
Oh, did you not really like the look of that certificate?
No, definitely
No.
not.
Oh, it's a shame. It's an absolute shame.
In all fairness, how many games give you a certificate?
Pokemon.
Does Pokemon give you a
Did it?
certificate?
Well, an in-game one. If you catch all 150 or all of the Pokemon, I guess now you get a little certificate.
I didn't know that. Oh, I
Yeah.
need to go and get my copy.
You
of
obviously
Pokemon Red
are
back
not
out
a
again.
good Pokemon player. Then come on,
I've
You're
never
not your
caught them all.
Pokemon master.
look.
Get your head in the game.
Can't believe that I'm the only Pokemon master here.
In fact,
No,
I
I
don't think.
did it as well.
Do you actually catch 150 of them?
Well, you
I
have to
don't
do
think
some
I've,
training to get some of them.
You probably had friends, did you?
Yeah, I traded with some friends.
Yeah.
I don't have friends.
Oh, friends.
I
Yeah, exactly.
Friends.
I'm going to be honest here. I don't think I've even beaten all of the gyms in any of the Pokemon yet.
Oh,
Are you
my
serious?
Pokemon,
Are you
gotta
serious?
catch 'em all. That's the whole point of this
Shame on
game.
God. I don't even know what to think of you anymore.
But I thought you were the Nintendo guy.
I seem to have kind of got this moniker basically because I'm the only member of staff that still has their Wii U plugged in.
I think you're the only member of staff that doesn't feel certain disdain towards Nintendo.
I don't feel any disdain towards Nintendo.
No, I don't.
Well,
But I think
I kind of do, to be honest.
I love my Nintendo.
I think maybe it's because I'm an animal lover that I don't like the idea that I have to keep these monsters and fight them to their death. I
They
quite
don't
like.
die, they faint.
To their fame.
I'd quite like a Pokemon game that was kind of like, you know how you see people who fish, they catch the fish and then just chuck it back into the water? I'd like that. So you catch it in Pokemon and then just release it again. Pokeball.
That's called a Nuzlocke playthrough.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Is that a
exactly.
thing you can actually do?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so a Nuzlocke playthrough it's a self-imposed challenge where you get a Pokemon. Or, well, you can only get the first Pokemon of each area, and if they faint, you have to release them.
Yep.
Actually, I remember us
And
talking
you have to
about
release your
this before.
starter as well. And you have to release your starter and then use the first Pokemon you catch. That's like your main Pokemon.
No, release your starter only if it faints.
Well, Where's the first thing you
No, you
catch?
have to release your starter.
Why?
The challenge I did, you had to release your starter because it's an unfair advantage because it's like a powerful Pokemon. So my first
What do you
Pokemon
mean
was,
unfair advantage?
my first Pokemon was a Rattata that I actually managed to keep alive for my entire playthrough.
But what if your first Pokemon you catch is a Magikarp?
Then you get a fucking sweet ass Gyarados.
Yeah, but you'll never level it up because you'll
You
never
also don't
win a
get a
fight.
fishing rod before you get a Pokeball. So
That's a good point,
You
actually,
just have
yeah.
to find a bunch of Metapod, that's all.
So, hold on.
Harden,
Alex, obviously
Harden.
obviously you've never played a ROM that randomizes the Pokemon in each area.
obviously not. That's certainly an extra challenge.
That'd be fun, actually.
Do they randomise levels? That'd be brilliant if you like walk through the grass and something like a level 70, like Charizard turned up or something. We're coming. Well, we're about 4 minutes away from the end. We've sort of run out of topics. We can't really hit the main topic in 4 minutes, so let's just switch straight back to the beginning. It's the Brexit special. So, what game would Nigel Farage want? What game would David Cameron like?
I'm thinking something with pigs in it.
There we go.
Was there a Looney
Hogs
Tunes
of War.
game? Hogs of War, yes. Hogs
Sorry, I
of
just
War.
had to Google who Nigel Farage was.
Donald Trump had
Donald
Probably
Trump
go
of the UK.
for adventure capitalist.
Yeah, if
Yeah.
Nigel Farage is pretty much Donald Trump meets Cuprinol.
Jeremy
so far, all the
Corbyn would
pictures
be
I've
going
seen
with
of him, he
Tropico.
looks like he's got like
You
a
see-
mouth problem.
I gotta say, I don't think Nigel Farage sounds as dumb as Donald Trump does. Of course, he's like the principles are the same, but I think for me, Nigel Farage has got a bit of charisma.
Have you guys ever actually typed his name into Google Images?
He's plastered all over UK media. We know what he looks like.
No, it's just like Google Images is nothing but him with his mouth open, smiling, like
Holding a beer.
He looks insane.
Oh my god, it is just.
Oh, yeah.
This is the
Google's name.
scariest thing ever.
He looks like a serial killer.
Oh my god, do a Google image search for Nigel Farage laughing. It does just say, I'm going to eat your children.
I swear that all of the pictures of him actually laughing, they can't actually be him laughing. He's just opening his mouth.
That's how he inhales souls, I think.
You mean Polish souls?
Just any that are nearby.
Just hoovers them up.
Preferably some European.
He's
Preferably
like,
some immigrants.
he's basically the political equivalent of Kirby.
That's actually a quite nice comparison. I'd be flattered if you called me Kirby.
All right.
That's what they call your mum, if you know what I mean.
Oh no! God, come
did,
on.
Did you actually go there?
We couldn't go the whole pod without me making a your mum joke, surely.
Well, yes, we could have.
Yeah, we were very close to, in fact.
But it'll never happen. I'm far too immature for that. You should know this by now.
Right. Well, on that bombshell, I think we'll end the podcast there. So, I've been your host Hamiltonus, and thanks to Ace, Dominoid, Fowler, and Vodka, and thanks to you, listener. And if you've got any comments you want to leave us, be sure to leave them in the comments below the podcast on the GameGrin website, which is www.gamegrin.com, or get in touch with us on Twitter at our Twitter handle @GrinCast, where we pretty much just post GIFs and have a laugh, so it might be worth a follow. If you want to see more from GameGrin, then you can find GameGrin on Facebook and YouTube. You just need to search for the username GameGrin. And obviously go on the website for all of our reviews, previews, and news, including the stuff we've talked about today. Excuse me for my words. GameGrin also has a sister company called Game On, which produces lovely magazines about specific games and also the gaming industry in general, and a new film and TV mag. So be sure to check that out. I think that's all the announcements. So yes, thanks very much for listening, and we'll be with you again next week. Maybe we'll actually have a main topic next week, but yeah, we'll see you again next week. But until then, and as always, game on.